welcome to my kitchen. We are doing a couple of things in here today. I've got a lot of requests to cook some more and show you a couple of my little easy cooking hacks that I do because I cook very simply but nutritiously. And also exercise. So your wishes come true. I'm combining the two in this class for you today. Cooking class and a moving class. We're going to be mixing and moving. How's that? So today I'm going to take you through a little snack hack that I love to do with some old bananas. I don't know if your family does it too, but my family doesn't like eating a whole banana, so they maybe will cut a bit off, put some on breakfast cereal, and then throw it back in the fridge. So I've got kind of bits and pieces of bananas left in my fridge that I need to sort out and do something with because I hate wasting food. So all you're going to need for this little snack is some bananas, maybe 2 bananas, or you can just use one big one. You're going to need some shredded coconut. Now if you don't have shredded coconut, maybe you've got some coconut flakes in the cupboard, you can just zip them in the blender and it's going to shred it for you, make you some shredded coconut. And then some honey, if you're vegan, some rice malt syrup or an alternative. That's all you're going to need today. But, oh hi, your baby! Oh, she just had puppies. Very sanitary kitchen, isn't it, your square? We could go see your babies. So, before we get into the baking side of things, what we need to do is wash our hands because we just touched the dog. But what we need to do is we need to mobilise our hands. Who warms up their hands ever before doing physical activity? Not many people. Who takes their hands to the gym and strength trains their fingers? Not many people. Okay, so what happens is our hands, while I wash my hands really good, our hands become very weak, and usually it's the first place arthritis sets in. Now why that is because we don't strength train our fingers, ever. I don't know how many people would strength train their fingers. So they're quite weak, and for the amount of movements that they have to do all day long, every day, that's a lot of strength they require to keep up with the demand. So if you're someone who has a little bit of arthritis set in, now I'm 37 and I can feel this joint in my ring finger starting to get a little gnarly. So I make it a point to do some exercises with my hands. So that's exactly what we're going to do first. How do we strength train our hands? Okay. All you need is your fingers. You need to put your fingers together. And then what I want you to do is just start doing some opposing forces and do a little push up with your hands. So in and out, pushing those hands together. So you're almost doing a push up with your fingers, weight bearing those hands together. Perfect. You can do this one on a wall, okay? If you have a wall here, if you have a wall, you can put all of your body weight against that wall and then slide into that push up with your fingers. You'll get about 10 reps and it'll start to fatigue pretty well, okay? Because our fingers are quite weak. Alright, so that's 2 ways there you can do it. Either the spider doing push-ups on the mirror or the wall push-up with your hands. Anytime that you are down on the ground, instead of having a flat palm, try and jump up on the fingers just to strength train those structures a little bit better. Another way that you can do it is grab a rubber band. You can place a rubber band on your fingers and physically open your fingers up against resistance. You're probably going to get about 10 reps and start to feel the burn all the way up here in your forearm. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. Another way is to open the band like that. The strength, look, I'm shaking already. The strength that is required to do that with a really hardy rubber band is quite a lot of burn through that forearm. Then what I want you to do is keep that band open. I want you to grab onto the wrist and then rotate just the wrist. So what we normally tend to do is forget that our wrist is a big joint structure, a multifaceted joint, and we use our arm and overcompensate our arm for a lot of movements rather than just a simple hand or wrist movement. So that one there is going to help strengthen the wrist, and trust me, you're going to feel the burn the entire way up your arm. You're going to rotate the other way. I can feel that all up through here. Plus I boxed the other day, so it's already burning. Good. That's one exercise that you can do. Obviously you would do that on both sides. Another one that you can do is grab yourself a jar, okay? It's quite easy to do that. We've got a lot of grip strength. That's the way our hands work most of the time. But when it comes to opening up a jar, crap. Didn't know which way it went then. When it comes to opening up a jar this way, it's actually quite difficult for some people because this movement is unusual, okay? When do we ever do this movement? So physically open and close a jar lid against the resistance. You're going to notice that you really work your forearm and that this joint structure becomes a little bit more lubricated with synovial fluid. Now that synovial fluid, we want that in between our joint structures because what that does is it sets a lubrication, okay? It sets a cushioning in between the bone on bone so we don't get that grinding and that ache and pain feeling. We have a joint juice or a liquid in there that helps smooth movement patterns and helps with that range of motion. Good, so that's another one you can do. If you don't have a jar, obviously you can just do this. You can use your wrists in and out. Perfect. Another way that you can do it is grab yourself, oh, here we go, a wine glass and swivel the wine glass from side to side. All right? Obviously you don't need a wine glass. Swivel that way. It's just getting your joints moving in a different plane of motion. That's when the secret happens. That's when you get the squeeze of synovial fluid out of your synovial membrane. Okay? Good. Then what I want you to do is little finger to little finger. You're going to bring your hands down, really arch through the wrist. Then I want you to imagine splashing water over your face. You're going to wipe it away and then bring your thumb up. You're going to bounce the ball, tops of the hands together under the chin, back to where we started. Little finger, splash water, wipe it away to the thumbs, bounce the ball, tops of the hands, under the chin. Good. And you're going to speed that one up. Just getting some nice rotation happening through the wrists. Perfect. All of these exercises and movements are on my reset program. I've got a movement for every joint in your entire body. Sort of. Don't have one for the skull because there is a joint in there, but we don't really need it. Lubricate it. Good. And then the last one I want to do, oh, my hand's already burning now. Last one I want to do is you just place a rubber band around your thumbs, like that. And you just start looping. Oh, hold on. You start looping that rubber band. Beautiful. Mosey, stop it. Looping that rubber band in and out. So your hands should feel a hell of a lot different now. They should feel quite mobile, lubricated and warmed up. And now we can get into the baking side of things. Mosey! Alright. Baking 101. Banana. Look at this. Oh, strong hands can peel a banana like ease. Banana goes in there. Next one. Mosey! You're wrecking my video! Banana. Banana. Is that enough bananas? I might go half, a little bit more with this one. Mama, shush! Alright, so we've got the bananas in there. Ow, that's too small. We've got the bananas in there. All I want you to do, you can't have that in there. The end of the banana, no. Then what you want to do is just mash those bananas up. Get them gooey. So I've probably got 2 small bananas in there, 1 large banana. I've got 2 small bananas in there, or equivalent to 1 large banana. And I don't know if that's enough, so I'm actually gonna, because I want a lot of bickies. So I'm gonna add in that other banana. So 2 big bananas is probably where you're aiming to go. And you're gonna mush all that together. Geez, the strength in my wrists right now is phenomenal. Just saying. Because I've mobilised, I've warmed them up. I'm not struggling now with arthritis. I've got that nice lubrication. Actually, synovial fluid looks a bit like that in between your joint structures. All right, so we've mushed up those bananas. Now all you need to do is add in your shredded coconut. Oh, did you see that? Oh, let me do it again. Okay, stop. Shredded coconut. You need quite a lot. I'm gonna say, how much was that? That was probably a solid cup of shredded coconut. You might need a little bit more. I'm running short on my shredded coconut. And then you're just gonna mix that. So you get a consistency of kind of not as mushy as the banana, a little bit more dry. Good. I could go a little bit more actually, shredded coconut. Now, I don't think I have any more. I have some coconut flakes, so I'm just going to put them in as well, just to really thicken it up a bit. What else? Whatever you want. There we go. Good. Now you want that kind of doughy consistency, like that, where you can dollop them on some paper. And then all you're going to do is add a tiny bit of honey to make it sweet, probably a tablespoon, a good tablespoon of honey or rice malt syrup in there. Honey's so good for you. Then you're going to mix that up. 3 ingredients, that's all you need. The mixing part's very good for your wrist mobility. Make sure you always do things on your opposite side. Left and righties. Done. Now, all you have to do is dollop that onto a baking tray with some paper. A little bit of baking paper. This stuff I should have prepared earlier. Pow. Now I licked that spoon, so I need another one. Okay. Then you just dollop some nice big dollops in there. This one's a little bit runny. You could probably add some more coconut to make it a little less gooey. You don't want too gooey, otherwise it's going to take forever to bake. So these ones are going to take me a little bit of time to bake, I reckon, because they're a bit soft. So plop them on the baking paper, like that. Good. And then you put them in the oven, and you just really want to keep your eye on them in the oven, okay? I would say 25 minutes. Probably on 180 degrees. You really want them to crisp up and be nice and brown on the outside, and then you've got the most delicious snack ever. That goes in there. Done. They are on. Now we can get into some more mobility while we wait for them to cook. Stay tuned. All right, let me bring your attention to some things that we do every day. A lot of the time we use our backs over using our glutes. Now I'm about to put a couple of dishes in the dishwasher. Does this look familiar? So at the moment I'm using entirely my rounded back, placing strain right here to bend down. We bend down like this about 3,500 times a day. We're going to get a sore back at the end of the day if we do that. All you have to do is have a bit of a conscious awareness of what you're doing when you bend over, and you've got to fire up those glutes and use those glutes instead. So, if you are putting something in the dishwasher, okay, all I want you to do is hinge from the hip. That's all it takes to bend down. Use your glutes and your hamstrings. Don't use your back. Hinge from the hip to put your cup in or to take your cup out. Don't bend, hinge, all right? So from here, up is pretty easy. Here, up, not so good. See the difference? Good. All right, so how do we bring in that glute activation through everyday life? You've just got to tweak the way you move a little bit. And I've done this before with you. If you stand feet a little bit further than hip width apart, and imagine you're going to do the split that way, but the floor's going to stop you and you're going to push all of your pressure against the outside edges of your feet, okay? You'll feel your quads switch on. Then I want you to tuck that tailbone under and squeeze your glutes. Just by doing that, then I want you to hinge by pushing your legs apart. Hinge, push your legs apart, hinge. You're going to feel that run all down here, okay? Even if you do bend slightly with your back in this position, if you have your legs engaged to the floor, it's a leg movement and a glute activation rather than here, because you're more likely to straighten that back up a little bit further. So we've got to fire the glutes off. So anytime that you're washing a dish, about to wash my dish, I'm going to set my feet up, I'm going to push them apart, I'm going to bring my tailbone slightly down, I'm going to hold my glutes in this position until I finish washing the dish. And by gosh, you're going to have sore glutes if you've got a lot of dishes to wash. So I'm still activating my glutes here. Still activating them. I'm still pushing my feet apart. Good, and then relax when you put that dish away. The kitchen is a great place to add some of these moves in. Okay, we've done the hands, we've done the glutes. Now what else can we do? Another great one while you're waiting for your food to cook or you're preparing or having a chat with someone is just hands on the hips and rotating through those hip joints. Our pelvis is pretty lazy in the fact that it doesn't get a lot of movement happening through it. So the more that we can rotate the hips, the more that we can excrete or squeeze out that synovial fluid, the better. Good. And here's the example I always talk about. If I have a towel like this, and I go like this, a little bit of water's going to run out. But if I get my chucks or my towel and I do this, all of the water's going to run out. So anytime we rotate or move our joints in a different plane of motion, we get that squeeze happening out of the synovial fluid in between those joints. So we can do this one. Okay, you can do that one whilst you're chopping vegetables. You may look awesome and sensual whilst you do it, but it's functional as well. Okay? You want to do both ways when you do that. Good, you want to squeeze your glutes as well. Another one that you can do is you can practice stretching your feet out. Whilst maybe you're frying something with the fry pan on the stove, you can stretch your toes out. Flip the toes over on the ground. Give them a nice stretch out. Go from a stretch to a weight bear. A stretch, weight bear. Come a little bit closer, you can see that. Stretch, weight bear. Stretch, weight bear. Hardly anyone stretches their toes out at the end of the day. Okay? So barefoot is best. Toe stretches. Beautiful. You can hold onto the bench and rotate those knees in a circle. Make sure you're engaging your foot to hold that arch up as you rotate the knees. Big circles one way, circle through the other way. You can hold your leg up to help. Good, other side. Circle the knee one way, drawing a circle on the ground. Circle the other way. Perfect. You can practice your Asian squat, which is really important to open the hips up. Grab onto the sink. Open the distance between the legs and sit back into that squat. Good. Come down and up. Stretching out the hamstrings. Make sure that back's nice and flat. Beautiful. Good. You can do many stretches, many movements, and many things to help in your daily life. Okay, it comes down to you wanting to improve this vessel, which is your housing, your building, and if your building starts to crumble and starts to degenerate, where are you going to live? Okay, it comes down to your joint structures being healthy and lubricated, and by improving their range of motion and the joint health, you're going to live a long and happy life in this house that you've got. Let's see how our biscuits are going. Okay, I've got some brown on the top here. Not bad. There you go, guys. I'll put them in a little bit longer, but I hope you enjoyed our movement and mixing class today, and I'll see what other crazy shit I can come up with next time.